Give praise, esteem, and honor to the Most High Yah by way of His Son Yahushua Hamashiach. Man, I ain't even have a chance to go get no haircut today, man. Godly. After John 5:39, we shoot to Romans chapter 3, man. I'm gonna ask y'all about that. See what y'all take from that. Search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life, and they are they which testify of me. And you will not come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you that you have not the love of Alahym in you. I come in my Father's name, and you receive me not. If another shall come in his own name, him you will receive. Now, you know, but just clicked my mind on that there, right? I'm going to ask y'all this question. When he say if another come in his own name, him you will receive, who do you think he's referring to? Absolutely, but where do you see an instance of somebody coming in their own name, seeking esteem and honor? Because hold on, come over here to John chapter 7 and look at something the Master said. Before we even, I'm just trying to build this under 7 and 16 or 14. Now about the midst of the feast, Yahushua went up into the temple and taught. And the Yahudim marveled, saying, How know this man letters, having never learned? Yahushua answered them and said, My doctrine is not mine, but his that sent me. If any man will do his will, he shall know of the doctrine, whether it be of Alahym or whether I speak of myself. He that speak of himself seek his own esteem, but he seek his esteem that sent him, the same is true, and no unrighteousness is in him. So he said, if anybody speak of themselves, they seek glory for themselves. Where can you see someone in this book seeking glory for themselves, who came in his own name and people received him? Ain't nobody got no idea for that. Come on around here to Daniel chapter 2. Daniel chapter 2 and verse 1. I'm sorry, Daniel chapter 3, not chapter 2. Daniel 3 and 1, my apologies. Nebuchadnezzar the king made an image of gold, whose height was 80 cubits, and the breadth thereof 6 cubits, and he set it up in the plain of Dura in the province of Babylon. Then Nebuchadnezzar, the king, sent to gather together the princes, the governors, and the captains, the judges, the treasurers, and the counselors, the sheriffs, and all the rulers of the province, to come to the dedication of the image which Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up. Then the princes and the governors and captains and the judges and the treasurers and the counselors and the sheriffs and all the rulers of the province were gathered together unto the dedication of the image that Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up, and they stood before the image that Nebuchadnezzar had set up. Then a herald cried aloud, To you it is commanded, O people, nations, and languages, that at the time, what time you hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, dulcimer, and all kinds of music, you fall down and worship the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar the king hath set up. Whoso fall not down and worship shall the same hour be cast into the midst of a burning fiery furnace. Whoso fall not down and therefore at that time when all the people heard the sound of the cornet, the flute, the harp, the sackbut, psaltery, and all kinds of music, all the people, the nations and languages, fell down and worshiped the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up. Now let's look at Revelation chapter 13. That's that grape juice. Oh, I was gonna say, it got cold that fast. That is an amazing refrigerator. I need some grape juice. Some strong grape juice. That burns your throat when it goes down. Revelation 13 and 5. Make it 13 or 4. And they worshiped the serpent which gave power unto the beast. And they worshiped the beast, saying, Who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him? And it was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies, and power was given unto him to continue 42 months. Then he opened his mouth in blasphemy against Alahym, to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle and them that dwell in Shamahim. And it was given unto him to make war with the Kadeshim and to overcome them, and power was given unto him over all kindreds, tongues, and nations. And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of the life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. So this same beast, where I gotta drop down, I just actually get all the way to it. About verse 15 of where it go to talking about where an image was made of the beast, and everybody bowed down and worshipped it. And the same thing with the beast, he coming in his name, and Nebuchadnezzar came in his name, and the people received him. And it's funny that everybody hates Yahushua, but Yahushua came in the name of Yahuwah. He didn't come in his name. He didn't come speaking of himself, nor seeking honor or esteem unto himself. See, the thing about it is that we don't never want to receive those who come in the name of Yah, because all the prophets came in the name of Yah and you killed them. Most of them anyway, not all of them, but you killed most of them because of an unwavering hatred for what's right. So with that being said, let's look at something in Romans chapter 3. That's just leading to something in Ezekiel 39. That's all that is. But I'm going to ask y'all a question, something in Romans chapter 3. We're going to start at verse 1. Romans 3 and 1. What advantage then have the Yahudim, or what profit is there of circumcision? Much every way, chiefly because unto them were committed the oracles of Alahym. For what if some did not believe? Shall their unbelief make the faith of Alahym without effect? Let's look at something like this here, right? He say, what if some people don't believe? Will it make the faith of Alahym without effect? Let's look at somebody who did not necessarily believe. Let's look at Luke chapter 1. Luke 1 and 5. There was in the days of Herod, the king of Yehuda, a certain priest named Zacharias, of the course of Abia, and his wife was of the daughters of Aaron, and her name was Elizabeth. And they were both righteous before Alahym, walking in all the commandments and ordinances of Yahuwah blameless. And they had no child, because that Elizabeth was barren, and they both were now well stricken in years. It came to pass that while he executed the priest's office before Alahym in the order of his course, according to the custom of the priest's offices, his lot was to burn incense when he went into the temple of Yahuwah. And the whole multitude of the people were praying without at the time of incense. There appeared unto him a Alahym of Yahuwah standing on the right side of the altar of incense. And when Zacharias saw him, he was troubled, and fear fell upon him. Now, it's always funny to me when people say if they saw Satan, they would do this, that, there, and the third. But if you see an angel, you see a Malachim, 9 times out of 10, you're probably going to fall right down and be very, very terrified. And that's going to be a great sight, a sight that you have never seen before in your entire life. He says, and thou shalt, But the Malachim said unto him, Fear not, Zacharias, for thy prayer is heard. And thy wife Elizabeth shall bear thee a son, and thou shalt call his name Yachanan. And thou shalt have joy and gladness, and many shall rejoice at his birth. For he shall be great in the sight of Yahuwah, and shall drink neither wine nor strong drink. And he shall be filled with the Ruach HaKadosh, even from his mother's womb. And many of the children of Yasharal shall turn to Yahuwah their Alahym. And he shall go before him in the Ruach and power of Elijah, to turn the hearts of the fathers to children, and the disobedient to the wisdom of the just, to make ready a people prepared for Yahuwah. And Zacharias said unto the Malachim, Whereby shall I know this? For I am an old man, and my wife well stricken in years. And the Malachim answering said unto him, I am Gabriel, that stand in the presence of Alahym, and am sent to speak unto thee, and to show thee these glad tidings. And behold, thou shalt be dumb, and not be able to speak until the day that these things shall be performed, because thou believe not my words, which shall be fulfilled in their season. Now, just because Zacharias didn't believe it, that mean that John wasn't going to be born? Absolutely not. It didn't stop anything. Can you think of anybody else who was told something and didn't believe, and it didn't stop it? I didn't understand anything you just said, though.
Yeah. But she's trying to get it back.
Yeah, I know.
Sarah.
Would you say he didn't have
Abraham's
faith
wife.
and belief?
She
Huh?
didn't believe and she
Would
felt
you
like.
say he didn't have faith and belief?
I be clear. That's what that's what Gabriel just told him. He said he was gonna make him dumb because he didn't believe what he said to him. It didn't stop the fact that Elizabeth was gonna have that baby though. Now she did mention Sarah. Sarah laughed and said, "Is it possible?" Now let's look at that in Genesis 18. She laughed. It didn't stop nothing though.
Do you think that salvation that he was a perfect man, but he didn't have faith in the marriage would be good?
I mean, shoot, that's what they stating, that he lived uprightly and correctly. Just nevertheless, it might have been far-fetched for him to believe that his wife was stricken in years, could have a baby, and therefore he had doubt when it came to that particular situation. What is it? Genesis chapter 18, verse 11. Make it verse 9. Genesis 18 and 9. And they said unto him, Where is Sarah thy wife? And he said, Behold, in the tent. And he said, I will certainly return unto thee according to the time of life. And lo, Sarah thy wife shall have a son. And Sarah heard it in the tent door which was behind him. Now Abraham and Sarah were old and well stricken in age. And it ceased to be with Sarah after the manner of women. Therefore Sarah laughed within herself, saying, I am waxed old. Shall I have pleasure, my master being old also? And Yahuwah said unto Abraham, Wherefore did Sarah laugh, saying, Shall I of a surety bear a child? Is anything too hard for Yahuwah? At the time appointed, I will return unto thee according to the time of life, and Sarah shall have a son. Then Sarah denied, saying, I laugh not, for she was afraid. And he said, Nay, but thou did laugh. She heard that, she laughed because she couldn't believe it. That was far-fetched for her. It didn't change the fact that she had Isaac, though. Well, they say that, but we can't actually go in the law and read that, though. That's what's written in when you talk about what Peter said, but we can't even actually read that Noah went and preached the word to anybody. No, I'm just being this so you know that. Like, you can't actually read Noah preaching to anyone. But the master states it and Peter states it, so clearly something of that nature occurred.
And then the people, when that prophet built that altar, and then they built their altar to Baal, and they didn't believe him, but their altar still didn't do anything.
Well, that was during the time of Ahab and Jezebel. They were already serving Baal at that time. I'm trying to. Somebody was just in my brain, and I sat back and forgot it, and it just slipped out of my brain. Hold on. A lot of times they showed a lack of unbelief when they were in the wilderness with the things that he did for providing for them, and that didn't stop the fact that his will got accomplished and they came into the land, irregardless of the unbelief that the people exhibited. They showed unbelief in Numbers 13 when they seen the giants and said, we can't take this place. And they brought back an evil report on the land. That did not make the faith of Alahym of none effect. They still went in that land. Come back to Romans chapter 3 though. Romans 3 and 3 again. For what if some did not believe? Shall their unbelief make the faith of Alahym without effect? Alahym forbid. Yea, let Alahym be true, but every man a liar. As it is written, thou might be justified in thy sayings, and might overcome when thou art judged. But if our unrighteousness commend the righteousness of Alahym, what shall we say? Is Alahym unrighteous who take vengeance? I speak as a man. Alahym forbid, for then how shall Alahym judge the world? For if the truth of Alahym have more abounded through my lie, unto his esteem, why am I also judged a sinner? Now this is the question that I have for everybody in this verse 7. What do you think this man mean when he say, if the truth of Alahym have abounded through my lie under his esteem, why is he judged a sinner? What do you think he means when he makes this statement? Because a lot of people say, see, Paul is a liar. He just said he's a liar. But if he was a liar, the Ruach HaKodesh couldn't even dwell in him. So what do y'all think he mean when he makes this statement? If the truth of Alahym have abounded through my lie under his esteem, he said, why are you judging me to be a sinner? Go ahead. You can pick it up, Dob. You right there. Just go around the circle.
I always look at it as just a hypothetical. Like, the same way, like, what was it? Like, the prayer is like, don't let me have to steal bread. I mean, because if you steal bread, you're still wrong. So it's just like, I don't have to steal bread. Supposing a hypothetical, like, if I lied and that might have helped somebody believe, might have spread the word.
But if he lied, then if he lied, then everything he said out of his mouth is null and void, and he should be on par with the serpent then in the garden, because he told a lie and the truth.
Right.
All right, D, it's your turn.
What happened?
It's your turn.
Oh, what was the quote again?
If the truth of Alahym have abounded through my lie, why am I judged a sinner?
What it means?
Yeah, what do you think? Because a lot of people put that verse out there and see he's a liar. The Torah say don't lie. He says, if the truth of Alahym have abounded through my lie under his esteem, why am I judged a sinner?
Because of the people.
All right, go ahead, what? Go ahead, Shirley.
I'm still processing it in my head.
I ain't going to ask Will because I already told him.
No, nothing is but she's.
You know what every last one of y'all overlooked where his statement came from? Verse 4. You know what he said in verse 4? Let Alahym be true and every man be a liar. What is Paul? So then let's look at something in Numbers 23 and 19. Because the key thing he also overlooked, he said the truth of Alahym. Ain't no lie, the truth. So he's basically telling them, if I be a man am a liar, and the truth of Alahym is right down in his esteem, who is a liar, and I'm speaking the truth, then why are you judging me a sinner then? And we'll show that with the master too. Number 23 and 19. See, that's one of those statements that when they throw that out there, a lot of brothers can't answer it, and it causes people to question. Number 23 and 19 said, Alahym is not a man that he should lie, neither the son of man that he should repent. Have he said it, shall he not do it? Or have he spoken, shall he not make it good? That man just said clear and day, he is not a man that he should lie, because men lie. Now let's look at something else in Titus 1 and 1. Paul just finna echo to Titus what you just seen right here. See, a lot of people like this here, man, when you don't understand stuff, that's how people get. That's what I'm telling you. If you ain't got this word laid up in your heart, you are a strong candidate to be deceived when they get real out here on these streets. A strong candidate. Because all manner of devils and unclean spirits and miracles and all manner of things going to be worked all throughout the earth. And if that word is not resonating in your heart and your faith is literally not 100%, you are susceptible of being deceived. Do you know what I'm saying? If you have any manner of doubt, any manner of selfishness, any manner of anything that has any carnality to it whatsoever, the likelihood of you being deceived will be present. Do you know what I'm saying? It's a lot of niggas, they got doubt in them. Do you know what I'm saying? So when they go to seeing certain stuff, they might fall for that. Nigga go to talking right, they might fall for that. Because this man said if it was possible, even the very elect would be deceived. So that's how hard this man gonna go. That's how hard that man gonna go. That if you ain't of the chosen, boy, we might even fall for that. That's how hard he gonna go. That's why that junk got to be obliterated quickly. That's why I mentioned like the statement that the man made. Not my will be done, but that will be done. See, I done used this Proverb 22:6 before, but I'm going to use it differently tomorrow. When he say, train up a child in the way that he should go, he would not depart. This man was trained up in the way that he should go before the world was made. You know what I'm saying? So he had already made a decision that it's not about what I want to do. It's about what you're sending me to do. What I want to do does not matter. That is not really stressed amongst people, period. That's why we always trying to do what we want to do. And then try to fit him in the midst of that. And that's just going to set you up to, when Nebuchadnezzar say fall down before this image, when you hear the music, you're going to fall down. Because you have to look at the key point of way. But we'll deal with that tomorrow, most high will. Because he said train them up in the way. Y'all do remember the word for way. That's the way to the highest that covers sins. So he was already trained to be a Malik, which is to kill himself, to sacrifice himself. He was already trained for that. And he didn't depart from that. Because the instance for him to depart was right there when they were finna come get him. He said, man, I don't want to drink this cup. He could have departed from what he taught him right then. Instead, he decided to keep on going in the way that he taught him. But when you looking at men lie. That's why this is why Paul, if them niggas knew the law, and then they read when he say let Alahym be true and every man a liar, then they would have known he was referencing Numbers 23 and 19, because men lie. There's not a man walking this planet that has never told a lie. Titus 1:1. Paul, a servant of Alahym and an apostle of Yahushua HaMashiach, according to the faith of Alahym's elect, and the acknowledging of the truth which is after godliness, and the hope of eternal life which Alahym, that cannot lie, promised before the world began. This man can't lie. But men can lie though. But he can't lie. So when we look at this key statement, what Paul say, if the truth of Alahym is increased through my lie to his esteem, why am I judged a sinner? Well, let's see what that truth of Alahym would be. Let's look at Psalms 1:16 and 15. Psalms 1:16 and 15. That is not the verse. My apologies. That's actually verse 10. My apologies. But we will read verse 4. Make it 3. The sorrows of death compassed me, and the pains of hell got hold upon me. I found trouble and sorrow. Y'all already know what this is. This is when he was exceedingly sorrowful, even unto death. Then called I upon the name of Yahuwah. O Yahuwah, I beseech thee, deliver my soul. Favorable is Yahuwah, and righteous, yea, our Alahym is merciful. Yahuwah preserved the simple. I was brought low, and he helped me. When you sit back and he say he preserved the simple, that's when you look like we fools for Hamashiach's sake, and he'll preserve you. Because we fools for his sake, and he'll preserve all those who become fools for him. He say, becoming wise, they became fools. When you ought to become a fool to become wise. Because people think we fools to follow this man, while they think they wise and they're following of their own puffed up, vain imaginations. For thou hast delivered my soul from death, mine eyes from tears, and my feet from falling. I will walk before Yahuwah in the land of the living. I believed, therefore have I spoken. I was greatly afflicted. And look at the thing where Paul get this from. I said in my haste, all men are liars. So what Paul was actually doing is he was being kind of sarcastic. Well, he's saying, okay, if the truth of Alahym is coming through my mouth and I'm a liar, then why are you judging me a sinner if esteem is coming to his name? Because you can't esteem this man in no lie. See, let's look at something in 1 John chapter 5. 5 and 5, I would say. Make it about 1 John 5 and 5 and 5 is good. Who is he that overcome the world but he that believed that Yahushua is the son of Alahym? This is he that came by water and blood, even Yahushua HaMashiach, not by water only, but by water and blood. And it is the Ruach that bear witness, because the Ruach is truth. Now Alahym say he's truth, and there's no darkness in him, and he's not a man that he should tell a lie. So when we come back to Romans chapter 3 and we look at Paul's statement, we begin to see that he wasn't saying that he was a liar. He was just referencing the word. That if these men knew the word, they wouldn't even make the statements that they made. So when we look at verse 7 again, he say, for if the truth of Alahym have more abounded through my lie unto his esteem, why am I yet judged also judged as a sinner? And not rather as we have been slanderously reported, as some affirm that we say, let us do evil that good may come, whose damnation is just. You know, that's crazy that a lot of people think that you can do evil and good gonna come to you. That if you sow a seed, God gonna bless you, even though you've been desperately wicked. But when we look at what Paul makes his statement on, of saying if the truth of Alahym redound through his lie, he's just referring to that all men are liars. Therefore, if I, being a man, am speaking the word of Alahym, then his esteem is getting brought back to him, just like we read in John chapter 7, that he that seeketh the esteem of him that sent him, the same is true. And there's no unrighteousness in him, because he's seeking the esteem of the person who sent him. The same way that we were looking at what the master said. He said, if another came in his own name, you would receive him. Because we seek to receive liars. We seek to receive men versus receiving Alahym to the salvation of our soul. But Ezekiel 39. What did we stop at? We stopped at verse 10. So we're in Ezekiel 39 and 11. Ezekiel 39 and 11. And it shall come to pass in that day that I will give unto Gog a place there of graves in Yasharal, the valley of the passengers of the east of the sea, and it shall stop the noses of the passengers. And there shall they bury Gog and all his multitude, and they shall call it the valley of Hamon Gog. So after he kills all of Gog and Magog, he's going to make graves for them. Hold on one second. Just because I can't remember what Hamon Gog means. And that's the multitude of Gog. And it's just a nice big old valley of graves where they going to drop their bodies at. Now, why would y'all think that they need to drop all these people's bodies here? What do you think the purpose of burying these bodies for? Cause keep in mind, this is after Hamashiach has returned. Remember, that's what we've been talking about. This is the same thing in Revelation 20, where the whole army is killed. Let's continue though. In 7 months shall the house of Yasharal be burying them, that they may cleanse the land. Let's look at something in Deuteronomy 21 and about verse 22. He said, if a man, and of course we ain't sitting back looking at the actual act of hanging somebody from a tree, but the statement in verse 23 is what we actually looking at. If a man have committed a sin worthy of death, and he be put to death, and thou hang him on a tree, his body shall not remain upon a tree, but thou shalt in any wise bury him that day, for he that is hanged is accursed of Alahym, that the land be not defiled, which you with Alahym give thee for an inheritance. So when you sit back and you look at all these sinners that have been killed, the land has to be cleansed because their bodies have to be buried. If their bodies are not buried, then the land will be defiled. So we have to go bury these bodies to cleanse the land. Let's come back to Ezekiel 39. Ooh, boy. Very, very tired right now. It's an understatement of epic proportions. In verse 13, yea, all the people of the land shall bury them, and it shall be to them a renown in that day, that I shall be esteemed, saith Yahuwah Alahym. And they shall serve out men of continual employment, passing through the land to bury with the passengers those that remained upon the face of the earth to cleanse it. After the end of 7 months shall they search. And the passengers that pass through the land, which when any see a man's bone, then he shall set up a sign by it till the buriers have buried it in the valley of Hamon-Gog. And also the name of the city shall be Hamanoah. Thus shall they cleanse the land. Now, why do y'all think it say that they'll find a bone? Who can remember what happens to Gog's army? What happens to this army? How does Yahuwah take out his army? What does he do to them? I see no one has any idea what he does to his army. How did he say he'd go about and kill these people? Who knows how he said he would kill these people? Somebody got to know. Don't nobody know how he killed these people? According to the text, how is Gog killed? How is his army killed? Will, you know how Gog army were killed? Somebody in here on the phone got to know how these people were killed, because I got all night. No, that ain't what we read in Revelation 20 and Ezekiel 38 or Zechariah 14. How did he say he killed his army? Don't nobody know how he killed his army? Swing over one chapter then. Just one chapter. That's what it is. Ezekiel 38. What verse do we desire here?
Oh, fire and brimstone.
Fire and brimstone. Fire and brimstone. That's how he said he would kill them.
So they got charged with it?
Yes, they did.
Okay.
They got burned alive. There's a point where it says in Zechariah that their eyes withered away in their holes. All that. Hello? I'm trying to, this is right here, and I'm not seeing it at this present time. Oh, there we go. Verse 22 of Ezekiel 38. He said, I will plead against him with pestilence and with blood. I will rain upon him and upon his bands and upon the many people that are with him an overflowing rain and a great hailstones, fire and brimstone. What a lot of brews like to scream talking about thermonuclear warfare. Come on back to Ezekiel 39. We're in verse 17. And thou, son of man, thus saith Yahuwah Alahym, speak unto every feathered fowl, and to every beast of the field. Assemble yourselves and come, gather yourselves on every side to my sacrifice, that I do sacrifice for you, even a great sacrifice upon the mountains of Yasharal, that ye may eat flesh and drink blood. Let's look at Zephaniah real fast.
Hey, hush. I'm right here. Hush your mouth. Hush.
Zephaniah 1 and 1. That is not Zephaniah. That is Zechariah. There's Zephaniah. 1 and 1. Listen what he says. The word of Yahuwah came unto Zephaniah, the son of Cushai, the son of Gedaliah, the son of Amariah, the son of Hezekiah, in the days of Josiah, the son of Amnon, the Malach of Yehudah. I will utterly consume all things from off the land, saith Yahuwah. I will consume man and beast. I will consume the fowls of Shamahim and the fishes of the sea and the stumbling blocks with the wicked, and I will cut off man from off the land, saith Yahuwah. Look at what he just said. He'll consume the stumbling blocks with the wicked. In this instance, who is the stumbling block? With the wicked. Who is the stumbling block? Who got any idea who the stumbling block is?
The adversary.
No, it's not. They say the stumbling blocks with the wicked. It is the adversary, But it's a specific individual who we've already read about this evening. The beast is the stumbling block. Because let's sit back and see how he would cause the people to stumble. And Daniel 8 and about 22 and 23 have been referenced it already. What did it say this man would have the ability to do? To be able to understand dark sentences. So he's going to be able to understand parables. Remember what we done read in Daniel before? He'll have intelligence, meaning he'll teach the people. So he has enough insight. Because remember, say the beast, the serpent gave the beast his power. So this beast has a certain ability to know enough word, because you can't deceive the people of the book if you don't know no word. How else was the serpent able to deceive Eve? Because he knew the commandment given unto them. Like if you don't know the word, how can you deceive somebody? Like if you don't know if a nigga comes trying to talk to you about the word and he open his mouth and it's clear he don't know what he talking about, then you're not going to pay him any attention. How you think all these niggas get caught up? However niggas feel about whatever camp, whatever the case may be. How you think they be getting these niggas? I just was telling Will this other day. You got niggas who teach these women and go in the book and make a woman feel like if she don't have a husband, she going to hell. She can't be saved if she ain't got no husband. And you got dudes that are adept enough to go in the book and make a woman believe that. Oh, I don't have a covering. I guess I got to get me a husband. The whole time, this nigga just plotting on taking a naive individual and making him his wife. He don't really care nothing about his woman. Dudes, how do you think dudes fall for the bad doctrines that they fall for? Okay, remember we were talking to your cousin about whatever it was we were talking to him about. How do you think he was able to fall for that? Because somebody had to know the book well enough to shoot him that lie. You seen that nigga stand before, well, y'all wasn't out there, but you was out there. What? You remember that nigga told us Eve was Adam's cousin? Now, he might know the book well enough to make a nigga believe that's his cousin. I don't know how a nigga would fall for that, but niggas fall for less. So, let's look at that Daniel since I mentioned it and just hold this Zephaniah. Because remember he said if another come in his name, him you will receive. I come in my Father's name, you won't receive me. Hey, new muffin. Daniel 8 and 22. Hey, new muffin. Daniel 8 and 22. Now that being broken, whereas four stood up for it, 4 kingdoms shall stand up out of the nation, but not in his power. And in the latter time of their kingdom, when the transgressors are come to the full, a king of fierce countenance and understanding dark sentences shall stand up. And his power shall be mighty, but not by his own power. Because remember, it's the serpent that gave the beast his power. It's the same token that Hamashiach didn't have any power. The Father gave him that power. So you have to always remember that all he's trying to do is imitate what's already been done. What's the best way to deceive somebody? By mimicking the original. By just mimicking the original. And that's the something I will go mention it tomorrow. And I'm going to mention it right now, and I might mention it again tomorrow. This is a certain thing that troubles me amongst our people. I'm being dead serious. You know, the question was posed to me, but it gets a little deeper than that. You know, I would ask, like, okay, if you got 2 people who are married, and I want you to don't think about it in the natural sense alone, but I want you to actually apply it spiritually, though. Being dead serious, though. Are there instances of, scripturally we just read one. Hold on. Scripturally, do y'all feel like it's a married couple, men and women that'll go just as hard for the word as the other one go? That the woman go just as hard as the man go and vice versa? Because I have seen instances where the woman go harder than the man, and I've seen instances where the man go harder than the woman. But you just read an instance where it was 2 people who were going hard together. Who are those 2 people? Just to make sure if you remember or you paying attention. Hey, new muffin. Who are those 2 people we just read were going hard together? Nobody recalls who we just read that were going hard together? Not just read, but read this evening. I'll probably say we're at 40 minutes, probably about 15, 20 minutes ago. One of them didn't believe.
Oh, are you talking about Zechariah?
John the Baptist's parents. It said both of them walked in the word of Yahuwah blamelessly and were both righteous. So clearly they both went hard. The reason why I ask, because I see a lot of people say a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? I've seen a lot of things with my own two eyes. I was in my memories the other day. I seen when Tamar was stating on how she loved the fact that Pele could teach her the word. Somebody that I knew stated that that's what they wanted. They had an opportunity for that and walked away from it. You know what I'm saying? So then I wonder, when we say those things like boom, because I'm like sitting back looking at it this way, and I'm gonna look at it on a spiritual level like this here. Because every woman don't necessarily want a man who can teach her the word. She just might want a man who can direct her in it, and that's sufficient for her. You know what I'm saying? Some women want a man who, I want a man who can open up this book at any given time and show me things. But we say okay, I want a righteous husband. But then if a righteous husband is put before your face, you will reject him. Because I say that because our people didn't necessarily, I don't know what we moaned and groaned for when we were in Mishraim. But then we got a righteous husband. But we didn't want him though. You know what I'm saying? He could give you knowledge. He could give you wisdom. He could give you understanding. He was going to provide for you. He was going to protect for you. He was going to lead you uprightly. All you had to do was follow. And we didn't want that. So then when I see on the women say that's what they want, if they were presented with it, would they really choose it? Or would they choose somebody who just, as the meme I ran across the other day, which so pointedly stated, who just can study it and quote it, but don't live it? That can't actually direct you in the fashion that you should go by their actions. On the other side of that coin, you had a men that say, I want a virtuous woman. We know a virtuous woman is a strong woman. We know Hamashiach is male and female. But I know this for certain, that most men don't want no strong woman. They will reject that. So a woman like Mary, or a woman like Elizabeth, or a woman like Rachel, or a woman like Sarah, or a woman like Rebecca, they would reject. But every last one of these women showed attributes of the man whom they claim is their savior. So if he was a woman, so to speak, they would reject him. Because that ain't what they really want. So the reason why I say that is, if we see people who are actual reflection of Alahym and we don't want that, how can we say we want Alahym then? And I'm talking about whether you choose them for friends or whatever. That's the part that troubled me. You know what I'm saying? Because the master said in John 17 that the word, he said, Kadesh, Father, the world have not known thee, but I have known thee, and I've manifested my word unto these men, and they have known that I have come from you. So if these people can come in their own name and displaying all of these things, and they're displaying attributes that are in direct opposition to who Yahuwah says he is, then how can we really say we righteous when we cleave and choose to have unrighteous people in our midst? I'm talking about closely. How can we say I want a righteous man and choose a man that don't meet that standard? How can you say you want a virtuous woman, a strong woman, and don't choose a woman who meets that standard when that virtuous woman or that righteous man is a reflection of the God you say you serve? I don't understand that. That's why I feel like when it goes down, a lot of our people will fold because they really don't want Alahym. That ain't what they really want. They want something that's close to the original, but not the original. And that's how the beast gonna get them. That's how Satan gonna get you. Because you don't want the original. You want something that looks like it. Even sounds like it a little bit. But he off all the way around the board. And that's just something to consider for your soul's sake. Because I can look at everything and I see it on both sides of the coin, just not naturally, but spiritually. Because what we do naturally is a strong indicator of what we will do spiritually in the direction where our spirit is going. by the things that we do naturally. Nevertheless, where we was at? In Daniel, verse 23. I read it 23 again, though. And in the latter times of their kingdom, when the transgressors are come to the full, a king of fierce countenance and understanding dark sentences shall stand up. And his power shall be mighty, but not by his own power, and he shall destroy wonderfully, and shall prosper in practice, and shall destroy the mighty and Kadesh people. And through his policy he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand, and he shall magnify himself in his heart, and by shalom shall destroy many. He shall also stand up against the prince of princes, but he shall be broken without hand. And the vision of the evening and the morning which was told is true. Wherefore shut thou up the vision, for it shall be for many days. So as you can see, this is how he's going to be able to get you. So this is how he's going to be a stumbling block with the wicked. Because he's going to cause many people to stumble through peace, through craft, and through his understanding of dark sentences. And again, you got to understand something. Guess what the beast is? Like literally, what is the beast? And even that deep, if you sit back and think about something that we spoke about earlier, the beast is nothing but what? A man. And all men are liars. So therefore, he's going to tell lies to be able to pull you down. See, hold on. Let's look at Galatians chapter 1. And then after that, 2 Corinthians chapter 11. Oh boy. Galatians 1 and 6. I marvel that you are soon removed from him that called you unto the favor of Hamashiach, unto another gospel, which is not another, but there be some that trouble you and would pervert the gospel of Mashiach. Remember what the prophet Isaiah told you in the 8th chapter. He said that this man would be for a snit in a jar, snit in a gin and a snare, and a stumbling block to the houses of Yehuda and those in Jerusalem, referring to Hamashiach. Now the beast is going to be the stumbling block for many because they're staggering at the faith. Remember what he said? He said, he said they stagger and they're drunken, but not with wine. You remember a long time ago we talked about drinking that mixed wine. Wearing mixed garments, wool and linen. When you try to mix spiritual with carnal, it's going to be a failure every time. Because you can't mix the two. You either got to be flesh or you got to be ruach. You can't be mixing it. Because that's going to be a problem. When you look at the beast, he's going to be mixing because he's going to understand dark sentences, but it's going to be carnal in his teaching. The same way the serpent's teaching was carnal in the garden. Because what did he play to that woman's day? He played to her pride. You'll be as God, knowing good and evil. And he played to that. This is not pointing at no woman. It's pointing to the carnal nature. Just happened to be a woman that he got. But you're talking about the carnal nature. He played to that. And that's what he's going to play to people. Like whatever's going to be going on in the earth, where he coming with peace, talking peace, everybody going to go for it. You know, it's funny now that Obama ain't president because, you know, everybody thought Obama was the beast. I guarantee you it's probably a nigga somewhere making a YouTube video right now that be like, he going to rise up and be the beast in a few years because, you know what I'm saying, because he chilling. You know, I think niggas was mad because I think he just got paid $400,000 to do a speech. But if somebody gonna pay you $400,000 to talk, who am I to knock him? Shoot, I wish a nigga paid me $400,000 for a conversation. That nigga got paid. Now that's pimping, cause you know pimps get paid for conversation. You know what I'm saying? But you get paid almost $500,000 for conversation. That's pimping. Shoot, nigga, Bill Clinton been doing it for years. You know what I'm saying? Just travel around the country getting broke off. You know what I'm saying? Well, you got some people got to work 10 years to see $400,000. That nigga made that for an hour or two of his time. That's pimping right there. You pimp a nigga. Well, how you even equate that an hour? What that is, $200,000 an hour? I don't know what that nigga was talking about, boy. He better be able to make poop turn to gold. I pay a nigga $400,000 to talk. That's a lot of money. Clearly it is, because somebody paid him for it. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if he got 400 racks, but that was the claim. You know what I'm saying? I know a lot of times for them speeches though, they pay them guys like $100,000, man. That's a lot of money. But guess what though? Who am I to knock him? Just like we talking about, I would tell. How many you seen that Lonzo Ball shoe?
I was shocked when that nigga went.
It's pretty high.
I want to say it's hot.
I said high.
Oh yeah. If the price went high, I was shocked with him just because I like what he's doing. But
Somebody said they look like a pair of Kobe's. I don't know.
yeah, they do.
But I know I'm not a sneaker wearer. Do you know what I'm saying? Like a basketball sneaker wearer.
They said I'm gonna like a great pair value, a great pair,
A great value pair.
Yeah.
The Walmart brand.
Yeah, of Kobe's.
Dang. Yeah, you know, nigga been memeing them up. Oh, that put tag with Marshalls on it. Well, the nigga Marshall's getting that bread. But he's selling the shoe for $500. I have no issue with the man selling the shoe for $500. I don't wear basketball shoes. So it's not many pair of basketball shoes that I would purchase. It's not an Adidas basketball shoe that I would dare purchase. Maybe with the exception of them last Hardens. And that's about it. A couple D Roses. I ain't gonna say that. You know what I'm saying? But I definitely, nigga couldn't pay me to buy a pair of Under Armours. Not basketball shoes. You know what I'm saying? The man who owned Under Armour couldn't give me $1 million to buy one of the pairs. I give you $1 million, I just keep your money. Because if that means, if you're giving me this $1 million, that means I have to be obligated to wear these monstrosities.
You gotta go and get it. I'll buy them. Sit right in the closet.
But I'm saying, if he asking you to buy them, there's going to be some stipulation that you wear my shoe. I'm just not shooting a nigga $1 million to buy a pair of shoes. Oh, you got to rock them.
See, you didn't say that at first.
I mean, that just goes without saying. Anybody go buy something, I want you to buy it because I want you to wear it.
If you don't tell me to wear them, they're not getting my money.
I don't even care. You keep your money, sir. I don't want them shoes. You know what I'm saying? Them shoes ugly, man. They ugly like your mama. You know what I'm talking about? I would tell them shoes ugly, man. It ain't too many pairs of Jordans that I would purchase. I don't care for all of them. I never really have. It's only like 2, maybe 3. The rest of them, a lot to be desired there. I don't know any other. Oh, definitely won't buy no old school. It's an old school Reeboks now. You know, some Sean Kemp's. I can get jiggy with those. Just not a fan. You know, didn't like every one. Only liked 11 and 13, maybe 23, and that was about it. The rest of them was just didn't do it for me. Didn't do it for me. But I said all that to say this here, like, people will come and they play to whoever it is that you own. You know what I'm saying? Like, you'll see this man and he done said something and he doing something. Niggas like this here, woo woo woo. I seen niggas say how he gonna tell a nigga to spend $500 on a shoe. He need to go get a dentist to fix his mouth. Maybe he don't want to fix his mouth. You know what I'm saying? That's his prerogative. You know what I'm talking about? But people are always coming to pull you away in a direction that they want you to go. You know what I'm saying? That's why Proverbs tell you, if sinners entice thee, my son, consent thou not. Because people are always trying to pull you off. Satan is always trying to come and trying to pervert something. The reason why I say that, because I mentioned all this is because them crackers and some of these niggas feel like LeVar Ball is perverting his son, when really he bucking the status quo. Ain't no nigga ever went to these crackers and told them, oh, I want a co-branding deal. I want no endorsement deal. Nobody's ever done that before. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's ever come and said, oh, you won't make a sneaker with me, I'll make my own. Nobody's ever done that. So they feel like he's perverting something, he's doing that. And I said, because that's how they felt about the master. He came and did something nobody had ever done. And then people just went crazy. They didn't know how to react. They didn't know how to take it. That's how things come. So somebody got to come through. And these days and times, they'll call him a coon and smooth it over. Because truth be told, don't let anybody deceive you. What LeVar Ball doing is nothing. Like they say, Phil Knight sold shoes out the trunk of his car. But see, now you live in an advent where he doesn't have to sell shoes out of the trunk of his car. He can just simply create a website and put them there and sell them. Niggas don't even realize that nigga might have been acting a donkey like that just for you to know what Big Baller Brand was. And you would steady bring him on there for free and talk about all the stuff he was doing that you didn't like and market his stuff for free. Then he'd turn back around and say, I'll take this shoe that I told you was $495 and sell it to you for $125. Got him. Now you'll buy it. Now he'll probably drop it because he might be doing the same thing that I heard Dame Dad said. That you make something of a real high price to make it exclusive where everybody feel like they can't get it, and then you come with another version that is not the same price, and that's where you make your money at. Because he was talking about clothes. And he said he took a $2 million a year loss for years with Rachel Roy following that model. And now it makes hundreds of millions of dollars a year and is a very well-known and successful clothing line for women throughout the whole world. Because that's what he did. You know what I'm saying? So you have to look at the things of how people pervert and move to play on your mind. Because you're going to have people that's going to come and try to pervert the gospel of Mashiach to pull you away after them. When you live in America, you always got things bombarding you, pulling you away for your attention. You know what I'm saying? You log on your phone, it's always an ad or something that's trying to get your attention. If you on a YouTube or SoundCloud or whatever, a commercial always seems to pop its way in, trying to get your attention. You know what I'm saying? People, when you're walking around and you just want to be to yourself, want to start talking to you for no reason. Trying to get your attention. You walk in the grocery store, it's little ads and coupons right in eyesight for you to see it, to try to divert your attention. Because I just came in here for Fruity Pebbles and bread. Now I got lunch meat. You know what I'm saying? I got this, I got that. I don't know how I ended up with it. I'm going to enjoy it, but I don't know how I ended up with it. You know what I'm saying? That's how it happens. It's not what I came in here for. And don't sit there and think women get got. Everybody get got like that because things start perverting your attention, because there's always things trying to get you off the pathway that you're supposed to be going down. That's why the books say guard your heart, for the issues of life proceed from it. You got to be able to look at every natural situation that you in and see how it can apply spiritually. That's why I mentioned that earlier about choosing a righteous mate or choosing a virtuous mate, because in essence you're choosing Alahym when you choose that, because they're a reflection of him. But would you get caught up on how the person looked? If she had a nice face and a nice body but she was wicked, if she was that pig with a jewel in her snout but without discretion, would you choose that? Or if she just was average or plain looking woman but she was virtuous, wise, and knowledgeable of the ways of Yahuwah, would you choose her if that's what you say you claim that you own? See, it was something I was going to add to that, where he said there was no beauty in him that we would desire him. Not beauty as far as physical beauty is concerned, but they didn't find the word of Yahuwah to be beautiful and a Kadesh lifestyle to be beautiful. Therefore, they didn't want to choose that. We have to look at that, because the choices we make really show how we feel about Yah. I don't think we really look at it in that nature. The people that you choose to be around, the person you choose to marry, if you in this way, being specific, shows how you feel about Yah. If you had a man standing right here and he was righteous and upright, but he was poor, and you had a man standing right here who was rich, but he was wicked, what if most women in this way gonna choose? I think I can get him right because he loves me. They'll choose that wicked nigga with that cash. Or if that wicked man looked a little better than that righteous man, they gonna choose this nigga, hoping, because you didn't really want the beauty of Yahuwah that was over here to the right. You didn't really want that. Because when you look in the mirror, you're supposed to see Mashiach. When you look at your brother, when you look at your sister, you're supposed to see Mashiach. So you would think that if that's what you see, if that's what you own, that's what you would choose. And no one could pervert the gospel or pervert anything to deceive you. Nevertheless, I marvel that you are so soon removed from him that called you into the favor of Mashiach into another gospel, which is not another, but there be some that trouble you and will pervert the gospel of Mashiach. But though we or a Malachim from Shamahim preach any other gospel unto you than that which we have preached unto you, let him be damned, let him be accursed, let him go to hell. As we said before, so I now again, if any man preach any other gospel unto you than that ye have received, let him be damned. 2 Corinthians 11. And as you can see, it say he'll rise up against the prince of princes. And we know what happened to the beast. He gets thrown in the lake of fire alive. Let him be damned, because he perverted the gospel of Mashiach, seeking honor and esteem unto himself, coming in his own name instead of coming in the name of Yahuwah. And the people will receive him because he's coming in his own name, seeking his own esteem. And that shows how the people really felt about Yah in the first place. Because if in Proverbs 8:13 it says the fear of Yahuwah is to hate evil, pride, and arrogancy. Now it says the beast will rise up, speaking great things against the tabernacle of Alahym. Hold on one second, y'all. I'll pull the verse up. I'm wondering what that word is for arrogancy. The fear of Yahuwah is to hate evil, pride, and arrogancy, and the evil way, and the froward mouth do I hate. So did man say that you should hate arrogancy, and that's just nothing but pride? He said you should hate pride. He said if you fear Yahuwah, you would hate evil, pride, and arrogancy. You would hate it. You would hate it. So if this man rises up and he's speaking great things against the tabernacle of Alahym and his pride and his arrogance, then you should hate this man. He should not be a stumbling block to you. But see, he was a stumbling block to Eve because he told her she'd be like God. And he spoke to her pride. He spoke to her carnality. He spoke to that. Matter of fact, after we read 2 Corinthians 11, we'll look at 1 John 2 and 15. 2 Corinthians 11 and 1. Praise the Lamb for the word. Praise Yah for the word. No, excuse me. Oh, man. It's like my bone and my kneecap. This just doesn't make any sense. Check it. Would to Alahym you could bear with me a little in my folly, and indeed bear with me, for I am jealous over you with a godly jealousy, for I have espoused you to one husband, that I may present you as a chaste virgin to Mashiach. But I fear lest by any means as the serpent beguiled Eve through his subtlety, so your mind should be corrupted for the simplicity that is in Mashiach. For if he that come preach another Yahushua whom we have not preached, or if you receive another Ruach which you have not received, or another gospel which you have not accepted, you might bear well with him. See, this is where a lot of brews get upset. Because they say, see, you don't love your brother, because you would not, but you bring in another gospel. I cannot accept that. If I believe in the gospel of Yahushua HaMashiach, I cannot accept what you're bringing. I will reject your deposit. Your credit card will be cut with scissors, and your checks will be shredded. Because you trying to deceive me through your subtlety, though you may not realize it, but that's what you're doing, and I cannot allow you to do so. 1 John 2 and 15. Just remember the statement that he's about to make here. I'll read you verse 13. I'll read you verse 12. I write unto you, little children, because your sins are forgiven you for his name's sake. I write unto you, fathers, because you have known him that is from the beginning. I write unto you, young men, because you've overcome the wicked one. I write unto you, little children, because you have known the Father. I have written unto you, fathers, because you have known him that is from the beginning. I have written unto you, young men, because you are strong, and the word of Alahym abide in you, and you have overcome the wicked one. Love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh and the lust of the eyes and the pride of life, is not of the Father, but is of the world. And the world pass away and the lust thereof, but he that do the will of Alahym abide forever. Now we came here for this word, this Greek word for pride of life. That word pride is alazonai, and it's an empty braggart talk of basically somebody who trusts in the stability of earthly things. Someone who trusts in their own power. And that's what a lot of our people problem is. Let's look at that Isaiah 65:1 real fast. A people who trust in their own power. You trust in your flesh. And that's why they sit back. That's why the book say, "Cursed be the man that trusteth in man who make flesh his arm." And they turn around and they're going to make the beast, and we're still holding Zephaniah chapter 1. They're going to make the beast who is flesh and a man and a liar their arm. Therefore he will become a stumbling block for them. Isaiah 65:1. I am sought of them that ask not for me. I am found of them that sought me not. I said, behold me, unto a nation that was not called by my name. I have spread out my hands all the day unto a rebellious people, which walk in a way that was not good, after their own thoughts. Because we ended up trusting in our own power, because we walking after our own thoughts and our own heart and our own way. And that's the pride of life. And that's not of Yahuwah. He resisteth the proud and give favor unto the humble. We have to consider those things and weigh those things when we look at the direction that we're going, and why we feel like we're not attaining the level that we feel like we should attain. Because it's the finite points of salvation which hinders us from receiving the Ruach HaKodesh. It's not just, okay, I'm not sinning, I'm not getting high, or I'm not breaking the Sabbath, or I'm not a drunk, or I'm not fornicating. It's the things of, is there arrogancy there? Is there pride? Is there selfishness? You know what I'm saying? Is there maliciousness? Is there things of the flesh that still remain that must be mortified amongst your members? These are the things that we have to look at and consider. Nevertheless, back to Zephaniah chapter 1. We're in verse 3. I will consume man and beast. I will consume the fowls of the Shamahim and the fishes of the sea and the stumbling blocks with the wicked. And I will cut off man from off the land, saith Yahuwah. I will also stretch out my hand upon Yehudah and upon the inhabitants of Jerusalem. And I will cut off the remnant of Baal from this place, and the name of the Chamarims with the priests. And them that worship the host of Shamahim upon the housetops, and them that worship and swear by Yahuwah, and that swear by Malcham. And they that turn back from Yahuwah, and those that have not sought Yahuwah nor inquired of him, hold thy shalom at the presence of Yahuwah Alahym. For the day of Yahuwah is at hand, for Yahuwah hath prepared a sacrifice, he hath bid his guests. And it shall come to pass in the day of Yahuwah's sacrifice that I will punish the princes and the king's children, and all such are as clothed with strange apparel. And the same day also will I punish all those that leap upon the threshold with their masters' houses with violence and deceit. And it shall come to pass in that day, saith Yahuwah, there shall be a noise of cry from the fish gate, and a howling from the second, and a great crashing from the hills. Howl, ye inhabitants of Maktesh, for all merchant people are cut down, and all they that bear silver are cut off. And it shall come to pass at that time that I will search Jerusalem with candles, and punish men that are settled on their lees, that say in their heart, Yahuwah will not do good, neither will he do evil. Therefore their goods shall become a booty, and their houses a desolation. They shall also build houses, but not inhabit them, and they shall plant vineyards, but not drink the wine thereof. So that goes back to what we read in Ezekiel 39 Wednesday. You will rob those who robbed you, and spoil them that spoil you. But notice that he said that he has prepared a sacrifice, and he bid his guests. Let's go back to Ezekiel 39 and then Revelation 19, and you will see who his guests are. Ezekiel 39 and 17. And thou, son of man, thus saith Yahuwah Alahym, speak unto every feathered fowl and every beast of the field. Assemble yourselves and come, gather yourselves on every side to my sacrifice, that I do sacrifice for you, even a great sacrifice upon the mountains of Yasharah, that ye may eat flesh and drink blood. Ye shall eat the flesh of the mighty, and drink the blood of the princes of the earth, of rams and of lambs and of goats and of bullocks and all the fatlings of Bashan. And ye shall eat fat till you be full, and drink blood till you be drunken of my sacrifice, which I have sacrificed for you. Thus ye shall be filled at my table with horses and chariots, with the mighty men and with all the men of war, saith Yahuwah Alahym. And I will set my esteem among the heathen, and the heathen shall see my judgment that I have executed, and my hand that I have laid upon them. So the house of Yasharal shall know that I am Yahuwah their Alahym from that day forward. Revelation chapter 19. (19 and 19). Well, 19 and 17. And I saw Alahym standing in the sun, and he cried with a loud voice, saying to all fowls that fly in the midst of Shamahin, come and gather yourselves together unto the supper of the great Alahym, that you may eat the flesh of kings, and the flesh of captains, and the flesh of mighty men, and the flesh of horses, and of them that sit on them, and the flesh of all men, both free and bond, both small and great. And I saw the beast and the kings of the earth and their armies gathered together to make war against him that sat on the horse and against his army. And the beast was taken with him, the false prophet which wrought miracles before him, which deceived them that received the mark of the beast and them that worship his image. These both were cast alive into a lake of fire burning with brimstone. And the remnant was slain with the sword of him which sat upon the horse, which sword proceeded out of their mouth, and all the fowls were filled with their flesh. So notice there's a sacrifice when Hamashiach returns, and there'll be a sacrifice after he returns. Let's look at verse 21. Well, 22, 23 actually. Look at that, about hour and 10. Ain't got much longer. The heathen shall know that the house of Yasharal went into captivity for their iniquity, because they trespassed against me. Therefore hid I my face from them, and gave them into the hand of their enemies, so they all fell by the sword. According to their uncleanness and according to their transgressions have I done unto them, and hid my face from them. Therefore thus saith Yahuwah Alahym, now will I bring again the captivity of Jacob, and have mercy upon the whole house of Yasharal, and will be jealous for my Kadesh name. After that they have borne their shame and their trespasses, wherein they have trespassed against me, when they dwelt safely in their land, and none made them afraid. When I have brought them again from the people, and gathered them out of their enemies' lands, and sanctified them in the sight of many nations. Then shall they know that I am Yahuwah their Alahym, which caused them to be led into captivity among the heathen. But I have gathered them out unto their own land, and have left none of them any more there. Neither will I hide my face any more from them, for I have poured out my Ruach upon the house of Yasharal, saith Yahuwah Alahym. Now he makes a statement that how he has gathered us out of the place, out of the land, and brought us back into the land. And that all the heathen may know that the only reason why we went into captivity is because of our transgressions and iniquity. Now God's whole army has been destroyed. Now I'm not going to go through Ezekiel chapter 40 and through 48, but we will read Ezekiel 40, 48, and 31 though. Because what we see here with those bodies being cleansed and buried, and matter of fact, that's what I was supposed to do. My bad. Deuteronomy 24 and 6. That's what I was supposed to do. Now you have to notice something. No war took place for 1,000 years. And they'll see who remembers what this verse means. Deuteronomy 24 and 5 actually. When a man take a new wife, he shall not go out to war, neither shall he be charged with any business, but he shall be free at home 1 year. And he shall cheer up his wife which he hath taken. Now he say when a man take a new wife, he'll stay at home for a year. He won't be charged for no war. He'll spend that whole year cheering up his wife. A lady on the show the other day, she just asked, like, you know, what does that mean? What does that mean? I don't understand what it means. Nobody knows what it means. Let's look at something, right? Let's look at when we take a new wife. We just read in 2 Corinthians chapter 11 how he say he has espoused you to Mashiach as a chaste virgin. Let's look at Romans chapter 7 real fast. Romans 7 and 1. Know ye not, brethren, for I speak to them that know the Torah, how the Torah have dominion over a man as long as he live. For the woman which have a husband is bound by the Torah to her husband so long as he live. But if the husband be dead, she is loose from the Torah of her husband. So then if while her husband live, she be married to another man, she shall be called an adulteress. But if her husband be dead, she is free from that Torah, so that she is no adulteress, though she be married to another man. Wherefore, my brethren, you also become dead to the Torah by the body of Mashiach, that you should be married to another, even to him who was raised from the dead, that we should bring forth fruit under Alahym. For when we were in the flesh, the motions of sin, which were by the Torah, did work in our members to bring forth fruit unto death. But now we are delivered from the Torah, that being dead wherein you were held, that we should serve in newness of Ruach and not in oldness of the letter. Now all this man is referring to is you free from the law of death, which is stated in Genesis chapter 2, which is stated in Ezekiel 18, not that you're free from the man's instructions. Because that's law. If you eat of this tree, you shall surely die. The soul that sinned, it shall die. That's Torah. That's the instruction. That's the commandment. And that's what he's referring to. But he said, but if you be dead with Mashiach and you be made in newness of life, then you are free from death. And now you can be married to another man, which we see this when Paul makes the statement of you've been the spouse to one husband. Now he say this husband, when he take a wife, he will not go out to war. And he won't be charged with any business. But he will be free at home 1 year to cheer up his wife, which he has taken. Let's look at Proverbs chapter 5. 5 and 15. Drink waters out of thy own cistern, and running waters out of thy own well. Let thy fountains be dispersed abroad, and rivers of waters in the streets. Rivers of water in the streets. Let them be only thine own, and not strangers with thee. Let thy fountain be blessed, and rejoice with the wife of thy youth. He said that there should be running rivers in the streets, that they should only be for yours and no strangers, and that fountain should be blessed, and you should rejoice with the wife of your youth. Let's look at something. Excuse me. Which way we want to start it out. Because remember, he said that you should cheer your wife up. That Hebrew word for cheer in that verse is to rejoice or joy or happiness with his wife for a year. Let's start it this way. Revelation chapter 20. Let's just start it that way. Revelation 20 and 4. Matter of fact, not Revelation 20 and 4. Revelation 19 and 7. So when you look at God, them coming up and being destroyed, as we've already established, after Mashiach has came, after Mashiach has gathered the people, and while we're dwelling in the land safely, you see that this is when Deuteronomy 24 will actually be fulfilled. Let us be glad and rejoice and give honor to him, for the marriage of the Lamb is come, and his wife hath made herself ready. And to her was granted that she should be arrayed in fine linen, clean and white, for fine linen is the righteousness of the Kadeshim. And he saith unto me, right, Baruch are they which are called unto the marriage supper of the Lamb. And he saith unto me, these are the true sayings of Alahym. So now we begin to see something now. Now, if this is the marriage supper of the Lamb when he returned, which is the Feast of Tabernacles, fulfilling what Jacob said when he got Rachel, I fulfilled my course, give me my wife. And Deuteronomy 24 says if a man has taken him a wife, he will not be charged with any business nor go out to war, because Mashiach came and warred and then took his wife. Let's look at Revelation 20 and 4. And I saw thrones, and they that sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Yahushua, and for the word of Alahym, and which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither had received his mark upon their foreheads or in their hands. And they lived and reigned with Mashiach 1,000 years. But the rest of the dead lived not again until the 1,000 years were finished. This is the first resurrection. Baruch and Kadesh is he that have part in the first resurrection. On such the second death have no power. But they shall be priests of Alahym and of Mashiach, and shall reign with him 1,000 years. So this is the year that he's charged to stay at home. Mashiach has no business at this time. There's no war. They're chilling. After the 1,000 years, this is when the beast is loosed to deceive the nations, and Gog and Magog raise up. Because for this whole year, he's supposed to be cheering up his wife. We've read this before. We'll read it again. Jeremiah 33. and 11. 33 and 10 actually. Well, 33 and 9. And it shall be to me a name of joy and praise and honor before all the nations of the earth, which shall hear all the good that I do unto them, and they shall fear and tremble for all the goodness and for all the prosperity that I procure unto it. Thus saith Yahuwah, again there shall be heard in this place, which you shall say shall be desolate, without man and without beast, even in the cities of Yehuda and in the streets of Jerusalem that are desolate, without man and without inhabitant, without beast. The voice of joy and the voice of gladness and the voice of the bridegroom and the voice of the bride, the voice of them that say Hallelujah of hosts. For Yahuwah is good, for his mercy endure forever. And of them they shall bring the sacrifice of praise into the house of Yahuwah. For I will cause to return the captivity of the land as at the first, saith Yahuwah. Thus saith Yahuwah of hosts, again in this place which is desolate without man and beast, and in all the cities thereof shall be a habitation of shepherds, causing their flocks to lie down. And we already know that. John chapter 10, we just read it, what the master said about it. Ten and 1. Well, 10 and 2. But he that enter in by the door is the shepherd of the sheep. To him the porter opened, and the sheep hear his voice, and he call his own sheep by name and lead them out. And when he put forth his own sheep, he go before them, and they follow him, for they know his voice. And a stranger shall they not follow, but he will flee from him, for they know not the voice of strangers. And this parable spake Yahushua unto them, but understood not what things they were which he spake unto them. Then said Yahushua unto them again, Truly, truly, I say unto you, I am the door of the sheep. All that ever came before me are thieves and robbers, but the sheep did not hear them. I am the door. By me, if any man enter in, he shall be saved, and shall go in and out, and shall find pasture. Because this man is coming in to cause you to lay down and to take rest and to enter into this place, and all his job is to cheer you up or cause you to rejoice and have joy. Let's see that in Revelation 19 and verse 1. Revelation 19 and 1. And after these things I heard a great voice of much people in Shamahim saying, Hallelujah, salvation and esteem and honor and power unto Yahuwah Alahym. For true and righteous are his judgments, for he hath judged the great whore, which did corrupt the earth with her fornication, and avenged the blood of his servants at her hand. And again they said, Hallelujah, and her smoke rose up forever and ever. And the 24 elders and 4 beasts fell down and worshipped Alahym that sat on the throne, saying, Amen, Hallelujah. And a voice came out of the throne, saying, Praise Alahym, all ye his servants, and ye that fear him, both small and great. And I heard, as it were the voice of a great multitude, and the voice of many waters, and as the voice of mighty thundering, saying, Hallelujah, for Yahuwah Alahym omnipotent reign. So you have to remember, the whole purpose of the 1,000-year reign is to fulfill Deuteronomy 24 and 5. That this man has taken him a new wife, and he won't be charged with any business, nor will he go out to war, but he will cheer up his wife whom he is newly taken. He will cause her to rejoice. Do you not look at Zechariah chapter 8, what he said. I know we read it the other day. Let's look at Zechariah 8, what he said. Well, Zechariah 8 and 6. Thus saith Yahuwah of hosts, if it be marvelous in the eyes of the remnant of these people in these days, should it also be marvelous in my eyes, saith Yahuwah of hosts. Thus saith Yahuwah of hosts, behold, I will save my people from the east country and from the west country, and I will bring them, and they shall dwell in the midst of Jerusalem, and they shall be my people, and I will be their Alahym in truth and in righteousness. Thus saith Yahuwah of hosts, let your hands be strong, ye that hear these days these words by the mouth of the prophets, which were in the day that the foundation of the house of Yahuwah of hosts was laid, that the temple might be built. For before these days there was no hire for man, nor any for beast. Neither was there any shalom to him that went out or came in, because of the affliction. I set all men, every one against his neighbor. But now I will be not unto the residue of this people as in the former days, saith Yahuwah of hosts. That's another matter. But look at verse 9. He told the people to be strong and to hear in the days the words of the mouth of the prophets, which were in the day that the foundation of the house was laid. Knowing that the foundation of the house was laid before the foundation of the world, and that those prophets were chosen in him before the foundation of the world. Because in my book, there's a book written, and all my members were written in it. Just leading to a matter for on tomorrow. Let's see what we need to go at this here. Rivers of water in the streets that are blessed. Revelation 22. And 1. Remember now, he said, let the fountains be dispersed abroad, rivers of water in the street. Let them be only for yours, and let that be blessed, so you can rejoice with the wife of your youth. He showed me a pure river of water of life, clear as crystal, proceeding out of the throne of Alahym and of the Lamb. And in the midst of the street of it, and on the either side of the river, was there the tree of life, which bare 12 manner of fruits, and yielded her fruit every month. And the leaves of the tree were for the healing of the nations. And there shall be no more curse, but the throne of Alahym and of the Lamb shall be in it, and his servants shall serve him. And they shall see his face, and his name shall be in their foreheads. And there shall be no night there, and they need no candle, neither light of the sun, for Yahuwah Alahym give them light, and they shall reign forever and ever. And he said unto me, these sayings are faithful and true. And Yahuwah Alahym of the Kadesh prophets sent his Malachim to show unto his servants the things which must shortly be done. Behold, I come quickly. Baruch is he that keep the sayings of the prophecy of this book. Verse 17 of this same chapter of the book of Revelation 22. And the Ruach and the bride say, come. Let him that hear say, come. And let him that is athirst come. And whosoever will, let him take water of life freely. Now notice that the book of Proverbs made the mention of that let the fountains be dispersed abroad. Knowing that there's fountains of water, if we go check Zechariah 14:9 and Ezekiel 47 and Joel chapter 3, that we see fountains being dispersed and rivers of water in the street. These are rivers of living water to give unto this wife of his youth. He say, only for thine only, and not strangers with thee. Remember Revelation 21 and 27 say, no man can enter into the city whose name is not written in the Lamb's book of life. So this living water of life is not for anybody. Notice that the tree of life and this living water of life does not come until after Gog and Magog is destroyed. They didn't actually get right to the tree of life until after God. Because remember what it said in Revelation 22 and 14. Baruch is he that is able to enter into the city. Baruch is he that do his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life and may enter in through the gates of the city. We know the law says if you take from the tree of life, you will live forever. So keep in mind that, of course, those who are in the kingdom will not die that are of Yasharal. But they hadn't partook in the tree of life yet. They didn't partake in the tree of life until after Gog and Magog is destroyed. Because the tree of life was not on their rats at this time. It came down when New Jerusalem came down from Shamahim to their rats for Alahym to dwell with you. This is why the earth has to be cleansed in Ezekiel 39 from all the dead bodies to fulfill what's written in 1 Corinthians 15. Because as we look in Proverbs 15, when he say the fountain being blessed and rejoicing with the wife of your youth, Now he's sitting back and he's who is the wife of his youth, is Yasharal. He can rejoice with her now. Because there's no more pain, there's no more death, there's no more tears, there's no more crying, there's no more suffering. Let's turn around and let's look at 1 Corinthians chapter 15. Well, actually Ezekiel 48. We finna wind him down. Didn't take that long this evening, man. Just an hour and a half, man. Nothing heavy. Nothing heavy. We've been on this particular matter for a little minute. Ezekiel 48 and 30 actually. And we'll come back. We've actually went over some of these chapters last summer, actually. But again, if you want to read about the rivers in the street proceeding from the house, you need to see Ezekiel 47. You need to see Joel chapter 3. You need to see Joel chapter 3. There it is, verse 18, and Zechariah 14 and 9. And then that also going to go along with what we read in Daniel chapter 12, going to Genesis chapter 2, and it's just coming to full fruition in Revelation 22, because he said that he would make Jerusalem like the Garden of Eden, or the paradise of Alahym. Ezekiel 48 and 30. And these are the goings out of the city on the north side, 4,500 measures. And the gates of the city shall be after the names of the tribes of Yasharal. 3 gates northward, 1 gate of Reuben, 1 gate of Yehuda, 1 gate of Levi. And on the east side, 4,503 gates, 1 gate Joseph, 1 gate Benjamin, 1 gate Dan. And on the south side, 4,500 measures and 3 gates, 1 gate Simeon, 1 gate Issachar, 1 gate Zebulon. And at the west side, 4,500 with their 3 gates, 1 gate of Gad, 1 gate of Asher, 1 gate of Naphtali. And it was round about 18,000 measures, and the name of the city from that day shall be Yahuwah is there. So at this point, the name of the city is that Yah is dwelling amongst us. Now let's sit back and let's look at something. Back to Ezekiel 39. Something that was stated, and then we'll go to John chapter 5, and then Matthew 19, and then 1 Corinthians 15. So when we look at Ezekiel 39, actually Ezekiel 37, my bad. Ezekiel 37 and 27. Matter of fact, make it 26. Moreover, I will make a covenant of shalom with them, and shall be an everlasting covenant with them. And I will place them and multiply them, and will set my sanctuary in the midst of them forevermore. My tabernacle also shall be with them. Yea, I will be their Alahym, and they shall be my people. Now we know we could turn around and looking at a Mashiach being the tabernacle in the sanctuary dwelling with us, and then we could sit back and look at that this man is actually going to set his actual tabernacle and dwell with us. John chapter 5. John chapter 5 and verse 19. Then answered Yahushua and said unto them, Truly, truly, I say unto you, the Son can do nothing of himself, but what he see the Father do. For whatso things soever he do, these also do the Son likewise. The Father loved the Son, and show him all things that he that himself do. He will show him greater works than these, that ye may marvel. For as the Father raise up the dead and quicken them, even so the Son quicken whom he will. The Father judged no man, but he have committed all judgment unto the Son, that all men should honor the Son, even as they honor the Father. He that honor the Son, he that honor not the Son, honor not the Father, which have sent him. Truly, truly, I say unto you, he that hear my word and believe on him that sent me, have everlasting life, and shall not come into the condemnation, but is to pass from death unto life. Truly, truly, I say unto you, the hour is coming, and now is, when the dead shall hear the voice of the Son of Alahym, and they that hear shall live. For as the Father have life in himself, so has he given the Son to have life in himself, and have given him authority to execute judgment also, because he is the Son of Man. Notice how he say the Father has delivered all things into his hand and given him power and authority to rule, which is why he's the Prince of Princes. He's the ruler of rulers. Now let's look at something that the Master said in Matthew chapter 19. Because people sit back and they look at, oh, you putting the Son above the Father, and that's just not the case if you just have a little proper understanding. Matthew chapter 19, verse 27. Then Peter said, and then answered Peter and said unto him, Behold, we have forsaken all and followed thee. What shall we have therefore? And Yahushua said unto them, Truly I say unto you, that ye which have followed me in the regeneration, when the Son of Man shall sit on the throne of his esteem, ye shall also sit upon 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Yasharal. The Father has appointed the Son a kingdom and appointed him a place to rule. So this is why he's ruling for this year, to cheer up his wife and to cause her to rejoice. But let's look at what Paul states in 1 Corinthians 15, because it says Yahuwah will dwell in this city. So that means something has to be done. See, because there's a reason why the Father gave the kingdom to the Son and for him to rule. Because the Father cannot dwell in no iniquity, no sin, and no transgression. He'll consume the whole entire earth. This is why after Gog is destroyed, this is why he don't come to dwell with us instantly after the Master comes. This is why Gog is destroyed. Then after that, these bodies got to be cleansed up and buried. And then New Jerusalem makes its way. 1 Corinthians 15. Which goes into that new Shamahim and new Arats that we read about on Wednesday. 1 Corinthians 15 and 22. He say, For as in Adam all die, even so Mashiach shall all be made alive. But every man in his own order. Mashiach the first fruits, afterward they that are Mashiach's at his coming. Then come the end, when he shall deliver up the kingdom to Alahym, even the Father, when he shall have put down all rule and all authority and power. For he must reign until he put all enemies under his feet. The last enemy that shall be destroyed is death, for he hath put all things under his feet. But when he saith all things are put under him, it is manifest that he is accepted, which did put all things under him. And when all things shall be subdued unto him, then shall the Son also himself be subject unto him that put all things under him, that Alahym may be all in all. So let's look at Revelation chapter 20. Because when we look at Revelation 20 and 14 or 15, we've already looked in Revelation 20 that this is when Gog them raises up and then they get smashed. And then judgment is set. Because clearly these men are dying, so death hasn't been destroyed yet. Revelation 20 and 12, I suppose. Well, 20 and 11. And I saw a great white throne, and him that sat on it, from whose face the earth and Shamahim fled away, and there was found no place for them. And I saw the dead, small and great, stand before Alahym, and the books were open, and another book was open, which is the book of life, and the dead were judged out of those things which were written in the books, according to their works. And the sea gave up the dead which were in it, and death and hell delivered up the dead which were in them, and they were judged every man according to their works. And death and hell were cast into the lake of fire. This is the second death. Whosoever was not found written in the book of life was cast into the lake of fire. So what have we ascertained? Death is not actually thrown into the lake of fire and destroyed and put under his feet until after Gog and Magog is destroyed. Because when you look at that and when you see that in Ezekiel 39, and then when you look at Ezekiel 40 through 48, that is New Jerusalem and the Son preparing to deliver the kingdom back up to the person who gave it to him. Because he is coming to dwell with us. As you see the chapter ended with, the name of the city is Yahuwah is there. Just like you read in Zechariah 14. But before he can come dwell with us, all these people got to be smashed. What else did we able to ascertain? The tree of life is not, you're not actually able to get access to it until after Gog and Magog is destroyed. The water of life that runs freely, just like you've seen in Genesis chapter 2. You don't get access to drinking it until after Gog and Magog is destroyed. Revelation 21:1. And I saw a new Shamahim and a new Arats, for the first Shamahim and the first Arats were passed away, and there was no more sea. And I, Yakanan, saw the Kadesh city, New Jerusalem, coming down from Alahym out of Shamahim, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. And I heard a great voice out of Shamahim saying, Behold, the tabernacle of Alahym is with men, and he will dwell with them, and they shall be his people. And Alahym himself shall be with them, and he will be their Alahym. And Alahym shall wipe away all tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, neither sorrow nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain, for the former things are passed away. So, hold on. And he that sat upon the throne said, Behold, I make all things new. And he said unto me, Write, for these words are true and faithful. And he said unto me, It is done. I am the Aleph and the Tav, the beginning and the end. I will give unto him that is athirst of the fountain of the water of life freely. The same thing like it said in Proverbs. What did Proverbs tell you? Let thy fountains be dispersed abroad, and rivers of waters in the streets, and let them only be for yours and not strangers, because there will be no sinners there. It will only be for those who belong to Yahuwah, those who belong to him from the foundation of the world. And at that time, Revelation 21:22, and I saw no temple, for the Yahuwah Alahym Almighty and the Lamb are the temple of it, and the city had no need of the sun, neither of the moon to shine in it, for the esteem of Alahym did lighten it, and the Lamb is the light thereof. So at that point, that's when the kingdom is delivered up unto the Father come dwell with us, and death is eliminated. Hallelujah for Yahushua in the word. We'll stop him right there.